Medicare fraud hurts us all. Hi, I'm attorney Jason T. Brown, head of the whistleblower law firm Brown LLC. Did you know that Medicare fraud costs taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars each year? Reporting Medicare fraud isn't just the right thing to do, it's a way to protect our healthcare system and ensure that justice is served. So if Medicare fraud is going down, you should call Brown. In this video, we're going to explain what Medicare fraud is and how you can recognize it, the step-by-step process for reporting fraud and the different avenues, whistleblower rewards and protections, what keeps you safe when you invoke the statutes, and answers to frequently asked questions we often receive from people just like you who have questions about what to do when they encounter Medicare fraud. So if you're concerned about Medicare fraud or suspect wrongdoing, stay tuned. This video could help you make a real difference, and we'll discuss your options and how to report Medicare fraud under the False Claims Act and through other avenues. What is Medicare fraud? Let's start with the basics. Medicare fraud occurs when an entity knowingly submits false claims to Medicare in order to receive a payment they're not entitled to, or sometimes when they keep monies they know they're not entitled to, which is known as an overpayment, or if it's engaging in kickbacks, or if they fail to comply with other terms of Medicare about how they can be a carrier that accepts Medicare or a healthcare provider. Medicare fraud could be committed by a healthcare provider, company, or even an individual. However, when an individual beneficiary commits that fraud, such as misusing government benefits, that's not the person billing, but the person receiving the healthcare, while they may be guilty of a crime, the False Claims Act typically does not provide an avenue to hold them accountable. But you can report them to the federal government. You can report them to your local United States Attorney's Office or FBI office. Some common examples of Medicare fraud include billing for services or equipment that were never provided or rendered, charging Medicare for unnecessary medical procedures or tests, upcoding, which means inflating charges by billing for more expensive services than were actually performed, and offering kickbacks to doctors or patients in exchange for referrals. Medicare fraud hurts everyone. It wastes billions of dollars of taxpayer money, increases healthcare costs, and sometimes really puts patients' health at risk. So why is it important to report Medicare fraud? Not only does it help recover taxpayer money, but it prevents future harm to patients and ensures healthcare providers operate ethically. The government relies heavily on whistleblowers to expose fraud. Even though you may think Big Brother is everywhere, it needs insiders to report stuff. Under the False Claims Act, whistleblowers have helped the government recover billions of dollars that otherwise would have been lost to fraud. Last year alone, the False Claims Act settlements and judgments exceeded $2.9 billion. That means whistleblowers in aggregate received roughly $580 million in whistleblower awards alone. Like Brown LLC, we represented, I think, the Whistleblower of the Year in an aggregate $950 million settlement. If your case is successful, you can receive up to 30% of what the government recovers as a whistleblower award. You're also playing a crucial role in protecting healthcare systems and holding wrongdoers accountable. At Brown LLC, we speak with a lot of potential whistleblowers every day. Here are some of the most frequently asked questions about Medicare fraud and the whistleblower process. What is Medicare fraud and how do I recognize it? Medicare fraud happens when healthcare providers or companies submit false claims to Medicare for financial gain, and examples include billing for services you didn't receive, performing unnecessary tests, asking for your Medicare ID to bill for fake services, and many other schemes. Can I remain anonymous when reporting Medicare fraud? You most likely can't remain anonymous, but the False Claims Act allows whistleblowers and makes whistleblowers file their case under seal. This means your name and case details are kept confidential during the government investigation, which often lasts several years. Also, there's an option to try to conceal your identity along the way that may result in you receiving a lesser whistleblower award if your case is successful, but it has the chance to shield your identity, although nothing is ever guaranteed, which is why you should speak with a sophisticated whistleblower law firm to know your options. Do you need an attorney to report Medicare fraud? In order to report Medicare fraud under the False Claims Act, you absolutely need to use an attorney. You're prohibited from filing a pro se. That means without an attorney. If you're reporting it to the government directly, which you could report to the local United States Attorney's Office or FBI, well, you won't receive any whistleblower award, but you don't need an attorney. But there's a saying, someone who represents himself has a fool for a client. And there's a reason why there's that saying. The process can be complex, and working with an experienced whistleblower law firm ensures your case is handled correctly. An experienced qui tam law firm like Brown LLC will help you file your case under the False Claims Act, protect your rights and protect you, and help you maximize your potential reward if the case succeeds. Now that you understand the importance of reporting Medicare fraud, let's work through how the process works. The first thing you need to do is gather evidence. If you suspect fraud, start by collecting evidence that you're lawfully entitled to have access to, like billing statements, emails, or medical records. The stronger your evidence, the better your potential case. However, gathering evidence has major risks, as you can wind up bringing about your own termination or can get yourself in criminal trouble, which is why you should contact a whistleblower attorney first. Before making a Medicare fraud report, consult with an experienced whistleblower attorney like the team at Brown LLC. We provide a free confidential consultation to assess your case and determine the best course of action, and we have multiple former Department of Justice alumni that can help you work with the DOJ. File a qui tam lawsuit. If your case qualifies, Brown LLC will help you file a qui tam lawsuit under the False Claims Act. That means you'll be suing on behalf of the government and in turn receive up to 30% of what the government recovers if you're the first to file and the case is successful. Government investigation. After your lawsuit is filed, it remains under seal while the government investigates, and you will be interviewed by the government. This process generally takes many years. So if the government intervenes, that means the government is looking to handle the case itself from start to finish. If it declines, you will have to discuss this with your law firm and your options, whether it's worth litigating. Potential whistleblower rewards. If the government recovers money in your case, you may be entitled up to 30% of what the recovered funds are. If the government doesn't intervene, 25% if it does. Even though there's a smaller percentage for non-interventions, the average settlement is higher for False Claims Act settlements that are intervened. So even though it's a smaller percentage, you may be better off in the long run. I think the stats are 13 million for intervened cases generally settle, 3 million for non-intervened cases. So you'd rather have a smaller percentage of a bigger pie. Now let's talk about some common concerns whistleblowers have when it comes to rewards and protections. What rewards can you receive for reporting Medicare fraud? Under the False Claims Act, whistleblowers are eligible from 15 to 30% of the funds recovered by the government. In large Medicare fraud cases, that can mean millions upon millions of dollars. What protections do you have as a whistleblower? The False Claims Act provides strong protection against retaliation. If you're fired, demoted, harassed, discriminated against for reporting fraud internally, you may be entitled to compensation, including lost wages and damages, plus attorney fees and costs. But you better speak with an attorney first, because a lot of times reporting things to internal compliance will result in your termination. How long does a Medicare fraud investigation typically take? They take, generally from our experience, a minimum of a few years, depending upon the complexity of the case. We've had a rocket docket that lasted only 1 year, but that's the exception rather than the rule. While the process may take time, the results, justice, and potential financial rewards are well worth it. Plus, if your firm is taking the matter on a contingency, like Brown LLC, and we're only paid if we win your case, we do what we can to move your case along. At Brown LLC, we're proud to be one of the nation's premier whistleblower law firms and one of the most prolific as ranked by Lex Machina. Led by me, Jason T. Brown, a former FBI special agent and legal advisor, and other DOJ alumni, our team has a proven track record of successfully representing whistleblowers in Medicare fraud cases, although past results don't guarantee future success. We're dedicated to protecting your rights, maximizing your potential rewards, and guiding you through every step of the process. With years of experience and a commitment to justice, we work hard to be your strongest advocate. So, if Medicare fraud's going down, don't wait. Call Brown. Contact Brown LLC today for a free and confidential consultation. Call us at 877-561-0000 or visit us at ifightforyourrights.com. Together we can make a difference and hold wrongdoers accountable. And remember, delay can only hurt you. It's only the first to file that has rights. And if you delay too long and the feds figure it out themselves, they may consider that you're part of the problem instead of part of the solution. You have nothing to lose by speaking with me and my firm, and everything to lose if you don't. So please call us at 877-561-0000 to go over what your rights are. Thank you for listening to this video. Please leave some comments below if you have anything that you'd like us to discuss, but don't leave anything privileged. Together, end Medicare fraud.